Now, I want you to hold on to one thing this morning. It doesn't matter if you're living in Hezekiah, King Hezekiah's day, or our day, God is not silent. Friends, God is not silent. Now, people say to me all the time, well, if I just got a word from the Lord. Friends, you got a word from the Lord. This book is rather complete. And in the days of the kings, these 400 years, not only did they have a good portion of the Old Testament, and under that dispensation, they were responsible for doing the first 5 books, the Torah. That was the responsibility of those who feared God, believing that God would send a Messiah, believing that one day their sins would be forgiven, would worship God as described there in that dispensation, the dispensation of the law in those first 5 books. They also had some narrative books. They also had some historical books. But that was sufficient for them to live godly. And yet they rebelled, so God sent people, prophets, to remind them. Some of them wrote different portions of Scripture under the inspiration of the Spirit of God. Some of them did not. And we're going to see those prophets today, because what I want you to remember is this, is God wasn't silent during Jonah's day. He wasn't silent during Noah's day or Jonah's day or Hezekiah's day, and he's definitely not silent today. In fact, I want you to think right now, who is a spokesperson from God that has communicated something from this book to you? Have you got someone in mind? I think back. Jim Schroeder never wrote a book. You will probably never meet him. But when I was a student, he shared the gospel he was a teacher. Every person in that class, and 2 of us were unsaved, and I ended up trusting Christ. Think about the junior high and high school teachers I had, and how they were zealous followers of Jesus. And I think of one of them right now, Denny Norris. You're never going to meet him till you get to heaven. He's in heaven already. But he taught me a literal, historical, grammatical interpretation to the Scriptures. He's a graduate of Talbot Seminary, and we would sit on his couch, and we would read 1 Thessalonians, and we would diagram sentences in the Bible. Boy, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? You know? And then there were other people that you would know. Man, as a student, I would lay in bed at night, and I would turn the radio on, and there would be guys like Greg Laurie. And there would be guys like Tony Evans. And there would be guys like Chuck Swindoll. And I would listen and soak it all in. And J. Vernon McGee. And, some of these guys are already dead. And some of them are still preaching. And some of them are retiring. And some of them, so you have these overlapping speakers and spokesmen in your own life. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's exactly what happens during the days of the king.